Just the Gordon's fisherman.
Uh-oh.
This is my squid stunt double for the week. This is Gordon Miller of the APN, Arkansas Preparedness Network.
Shalom.
You are a patron at the Squid and Bear channel.
I am.
We deeply appreciate you. You also...
We deeply appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you. Now I'm gonna blush. So we'll just end this video now.
No, keep going.
Okay. So, Mr. E.H. Nebraska. Every time I hear his name, I think of those old Bud Light commercials. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, Mr. E.H. Nebraska has asked for SHTF. He's a prepper. It's kind of what this channel's about.
Really?
And yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
News
occasionally, yeah. We pretend real well. We don't really do anything.
That's
We just fake it real good.
Now we're just camping for a week here.
We're just camping, yeah. Sukkot, when God commands you to go camping.
Roger that.
His question is, for SHTF, and I'm paraphrasing, they ask us these questions, and I pull out what I believe to be the true nugget of the question.
Okay.
For SHTF, handgun first or rifle first? If you don't have either, which one should you get first? Aha! Ha, ha.
Okay.
And as always, you didn't know the question until just now.
Anytime you have to throw lead rocks down range, it should always be rifle first. Somebody several years ago told me that your handgun is only good for fighting your way back to your rifle, which you should have had in the first place. And I've heard this guy say this too. Totally agree with that. If you have neither, which one should you get first? A shotgun.
Ding, 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 ding,
So
ding,
that
ding,
was
ding,
kind
ding.
of a trick question. Because if you don't already have one, you're likely not proficient with either. So the best place to start would be a shotgun. They're simple to operate, they're easy to hit, and they're a lot less likely to overpenetrate if you're in a situation where you need to stop somebody and not stop the people behind you.
Yeah, you don't.
Like loved ones on the other side of the
No
wall or
grand
whatever.
jury rounds, no
Yeah.
through and throughs.
Yeah.
And they're cheap to feed, relatively cheap to feed.
Yeah.
Cheap to acquire. $200 in the nearest Walmart will get you a 12 gauge shotgun.
Pawn shops and $100 to get
Pawn
you a
shops and
12-gauge
$100
shotgun.
will get you a 12 gauge shotgun. You know, and they're okay. They're rounds limited, 5-ish rounds. You know, maybe 6 rounds, depending on the gun. Maybe 8 rounds.
Man, see, I like watching shooting tournaments. This is a little bit of a sidebar, but there was a young woman. I say a young woman. She was a late teen, early 20 woman, competition shotgun shooter, and she had a special little holster on her belt that would hold the shotgun rounds, and she could grab 2 of them at a time and feed 2 rounds in less than a second.
Yep.
So if you practice, having 5 rounds in the magazine is just fine.
Like anything, it's training.
Yep, and
But
training.
But those 5 rounds, if you connect with those 5 rounds, it's going to be more devastating than the 45 that's on my hip. And depending on where you are and what your shot placement is, it could be more devastating than a 55 grain 5.56 round. So
and your choice of ammo is pretty
you
outstanding.
can hunt
a
any
slug, which is
Yep.
as big as the end of my thumb, or you could do double-aught buck, which is basically what, about 9mm rounds.
It's the same as being hit by a 9mm 9 times. They're .38 caliber balls.
So
Shotgun. If you already have a 12 gauge shotgun, but yeah, I agree completely. That would be my first step, is get a 12 gauge shotgun. If you live in a jurisdiction where you have a 90-day waiting period to get your hand on a shotgun, you might drive around in the country and check at yard sales. Just saying. Just saying.
Yep.
Just saying. Private sales. Of course, all the caveats. I'm not a lawyer. Talk to your attorney. Don't break any laws. This is not legal advice. But, all right, so now you have a shotgun. Now what do you get? Do you get a pistol or a rifle?
Both.
I'll say this. If you live out here, I think a rifle makes more sense than a pistol first. Right. If you live in suburbia or in the city, I think a pistol could make more sense.
Well, it also depends. Are you planning on carrying it?
Is it a carry piece?
As a carry piece. If you're planning on carrying something as a carry piece, obviously you need training besides just your concealed carry permit training, because that's not really training.
Yep.
Then go for a pistol. But everybody needs a rifle, whether you're in town or what, because if I've got, okay, let's say I do live in suburbia, the middle of Chicago or whatever, and all I've got is a 30-30 lever action rifle. It's a deer rifle or whatever. And I've got 3 gangbangers coming at me, and they all got 9mm Glocks, sideways and stuff. Man, the chances of them hitting me from 75 yards out are pretty slim. The chances of me hitting them with a 30-30 lever action rifle, really good. So the longer the barrel, the more accurate it's going to be, and the better chance that you get your rounds on target.
I think there are 5 guns that everybody should own. A pistol, which you conceal carry, that's your carry piece. Your pistol, your carbine, preferably an M4 platform. I love the AK. AKs are cool. They're not an M4. It's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But you should have a pistol, probably in 9mm, most common handgun around on the earth. You should have an AR in 5.56x45. You should have a 12-gauge shotgun, which we just talked about. A 22 long rifle, because that stuff's everywhere, and it's prolific ammunition, and it can do a lot of things for you. And you should have some kind of meat procurement gun, deer rifle, brush gun, whatever. Those 5 are like, if you're gonna own firearms, I think everybody should start there first and cover those 5 things. And then if you want to get a Scar 17 with a 1:6 battle scope on it and a blah blah and all the Gugas and blah blah blahs, go for it. That's fine. But we haven't really answered his question yet. So with everything I've just said, if I had to, end of the world, even in Chicago, end of the world. It's the end of the world as we know it, man. And the society is not coming back. I'd rather have an M4 than a Glock. I'd rather have an AR-15 than a handgun.
And I don't want a whole bunch of gadgets and gadgets on it either.
I want a light and an optic, maybe.
I don't even want an optic. I want iron sights, because I don't want it to be dependent on a battery that will eventually fail. And if we're talking about post SHTF, it's not like you're going to run down to Walmart and get a new battery for it.
I mean, you might. I might. All right, I'm not. It's not happening.
Just saying.
You're barely running to Walmart anyway.
Woman, I was just in Walmart. I was. Putting rice in buckets for you in case the world ends. This is not what a cameo is. This is not what a cameo is. And Mom just bought batteries. So there. But no.
For your optics?
I think an M4...
I'm not helping.
I think an M4 after the world ends makes a lot more sense than a pistol. But I think a pistol could make more sense before the world ends.
I would agree with that.
So you should probably... The world hasn't ended yet, so maybe get a pistol now and then immediately the next gun you buy, get an AR-15. And it doesn't have to be an $1,800 Daniel Defense, Mark 15, Mod 5, whatever. Just get you a DPMS for $450.
I was going to say, there's a gun shop near where I live that about twice a year they run sales on M&P Sporters, which they have a very good reputation.
They're great rifles.
It is. It doesn't have the ejection port cover, and
no forward assist.
It doesn't have the forward assist.
How many times have you ever used forward assist?
When I was in basic training to learn how to use it.
I've used it one time in the field,
I've never
and
had to.
I literally was like looking at the bolt carrier group, going, "Oh, that's right. That's what the forward assist is for." Okay, and I hit the plunger a couple times, and it seated around.
Well, anyway, the M&P Sporters have a phenomenal reputation, and when they're on sale, at least at the gun shop that's near where I live, a couple of times a year, they can be had for $500,
Right.
brand spanking new.
Yep. So, and that's about what you're looking at for.
You don't need a $2,500
Right. And that's about what you're looking at for a decent carry pistol.
Yeah.
You don't need a $1,400 race gun as a carry piece. And there's some good carry guns that are $250. So I think really what you need to do is get you about $700, $800 together and get the pistol in the rifle. Until such a time as the world ends, the pistol might make more sense, but I would rather have the carbine M4 platform AR-15 after the world ends than a pistol.
I would want the rifle to defend my home before I had the pistol, even now.
I agree. If you were ever stupid enough to come into this home uninvited, you would be met with an AR-15.
Yep.
So,
Same at my house.
there you go. Mr. E.H. Nebraska. We salute you, Mr. E.H. Nebraska.
Shalom.
Shalom.